Hey everybody, good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Thursday, the 24th of July. Where is this month going? I know it's going very, very fast for everybody in the UK and also for you around the world. Thank you so much for your messages as I wake up in the morning. I love seeing your messages and I love knowing what's going on around the world. My first message this morning was from Uganda at 7 a.m. in the morning, from our lovely Freddie with the Hope Foundation and those children over our orphanage. For those who haven't seen the video yet, please check it out. It's an amazing video with some great kids doing an amazing dance for one of our charities and also doing some great combinations and singing, etc. Little birdie tells me this morning that apparently they're going to enter into Britain's Got Talent this weekend. Going to be exciting times. I'm looking forward to that. So we have got a fun-packed day lined up for you. We have got this morning, as promised, the amazing Belinda Cupid down below me from the Cystic Fibrosis Trust. Hi, Belinda. How are you?
Oh, well, thank you. It's really great to be here.
Good. We're glad to have you on the show. So we don't normally do morning shows, Belinda. It's normally like 7 o'clock in the evening and everyone else behind the scenes is asleep. And we wake up, we're typical musicians, we're night owls.
I'm the complete opposite.
I know. I was having that discussion with my partner. We're saying about health because she works in health. And I was basically saying, like, those people in health, they get up nice and early and they're on their meetings nice and early. And there's us musicians still rocking it in bed because we've been up late night, So everybody, we're here to basically give you a program of understanding and education, and it's going to be a bit different than normal. We will bring you some live music because we have got some live music to show you from the weekend, and those amazing artists who were out at the Clooney in Newcastle. And we're going to show you some of the clips from the show so Belinda can see the concert as well. So I think that'd be nice for her to see all those amazing musicians take part. So thank you to the Sensational Sounds team who went at the weekend and done some recording ready for today's show. The recording isn't professional. We've literally taken it from one mobile phone to another. But I've had a look and they look absolutely amazing and they sound absolutely amazing. So Belinda, you can see how much hard work was put into this show. When I introduced Paul into the show and to ask him how this all came about, he will also tell us a little bit about those amazing artists who went out on the weekend. In terms of amazing artists, I just want to say thank you to all of those artists who have been on my show up until the 24th. There's been about 8 of you have given time away from your tours, given time away from songwriting, and given time away from your busy schedules in the studio. And we always appreciate every single time that you come online and help me support these local and national charities. And you've all been fantastic, raising money and raising awareness. And that's a big thank you for myself. We do have some more coming up to finish off the month, but it has been a great month. And it never stops there because we've got some ideas that we will be running alongside with Belinda today in today's show because I've got a bit of surprises for her. Okay, so we will let her know what those are during the show. We are going to start the show off with Mr. Paul Maloney from Sensational Sounds, who is going to tell us all about this journey and why we are now supporting the Cystic Fibrosis Trust for the month of July. So, Paul, I am going to mute myself because of technical difficulties today. You're going to unmute yourself and you're going to introduce yourself to the audience and basically tell them how this all come about.
Right, hi everybody, I'm Paul and I'm from Sensational Sounds. We're soon to change, well, we're in the process of changing and merging with another company, which is going to be opening a lot of doors to amazing things. The main reason all this started out was basically, I'm from a musical background myself of over 30 years, and I retired from singing as a singer about 10 years ago, and got into social care, working in mental health, disabilities, complex care, working with people with dementia, Parkinson's, cystic fibrosis, different types all over. Did a lot of years freelance. Then a couple of years ago, I decided I wanted to help the young musicians and the artists in the Northeast originally. A lot of musicians, young, medium age, any age really, to be honest, mental health and disabilities doesn't stop them from having a voice and a talent as well. So initially when Sensational Sounds, that started off about helping musicians to get up the ladder, to perform and go out and do live venues and live gigs. And then it's progressed over the last 2 years. I've always got involved in charities and working with a lot of charities because it's close to my heart. And the reason for the cystic fibrosis one this month was basically because about 12 years ago now, I lost my niece from cystic fibrosis at the age of 19. And she went through hell and back, but she was still smiling, still happy, getting on with her life, seeing 7 wonders of the world before she was 18, doing some amazing things. And I've never met a girl who was as strong as her, who could cope with everything that she went through during her life. And it was a hard time when she passed away. So this particular charity that we did was really, really close to my heart. And I wanted to do something and raise money to help other children and other people that suffer with cystic fibrosis as much as possible. So because I run an entertainment agency with a lot of singers and bands, I decided we'll put a show on. So we put a show on at the Clooney last Saturday night, and it was a great night. The artist that I had on was a guy called Stephen Maguire, who's a young musician with a lot of talent and an amazing future. A young singer of 18, 19 called Jessica Grace, who is also down that same path and got an exceptional voice, which you'll hear in a bit more now, more than likely. And they've got massive futures. We also had Darren Wild, who's been a big inspiration in helping with the showcases and organising them as well as performing as well. And he's also part of Nova Radio. So he was a big help in supporting getting these showcases off the ground. We have got 2 or 3 more planned in the future with the help of Darren and Nova Radio. And we also had a duo called High Met. Same again, exceptional vocals, singers. Couldn't fault them, brilliant, absolutely amazing. They're all amazing. And then we had a duo on at the end that are actually part of a band. Unfortunately, 2 of the guitar players were on holiday. So the band 8Ts, who were supposed to be performing, couldn't do it. So we had the lead singer and the drummer who go under the name Dr. Baker. But I was so impressed with them because as Dr. Baker, which is what they're called as a duo, the vocals was the lead singer from the 8Ts band anyway, and they were doing all the 8Ts, Spandau Ballet, Duran Duran and everything, but the drummer and the electronics they've got puts in the guitars. So it's actually like you're listening to the full band, but it's only a 2-piece. How it was put together was fantastic. And overall, it was a really, really good night. Unfortunately, the weather was really bad, so we didn't get the turnout that we expected. And obviously the students were away as well at home leave on term, and with the change of the band as well, but we overcome it. And the people that turned out was absolutely amazing. The bands and singer was amazing. Feedback from all the people that attended was, they paid £25, £30 for tickets, and these artists were times better. So the feedback I got was great. We raised a bit of money, not as much as we would like, but obviously we've got the donations online, other things going up as well. So we're hoping we get to raise as much as possible. But yeah, it's really, really close to me. I know how it feels. I've watched her grow up, go through everything that she's gone through right up until the end. And I had to sing at her funeral as well, Someone Like You by Adele, which is what her request was. And for somebody at 19 to plan her own funeral from her own bed, that takes some guts. I don't think I could have ever done it, to be honest. And the fact that she wanted me to sing at her funeral as well, she planned everything. She was only 2 stone 4 when she died, unfortunately. I sometimes look back on it and think, I wish I'd remember seeing her the way she was, but I still wanted to see her at the end. That memory will always be in my heart and my head. And I just want to help more people. with cystic fibrosis as much as they can, but also helping other charities and other people that go through, you know, bad suffering like dementia and Parkinson's and cancer, stuff like that. So a lot of things like that close to my heart anyway. But yeah, Adrian, it was a really, really good night in the end. Everybody was brilliant, and everybody enjoyed it. And the feedback from the artists was great as well. They were buzzing. They were buzzing the fact that they'd done the Clooney. You know what I mean? 18-year-olds. I'm doing the Clooney on Saturday night. Class, get in there. But as you'll see with the videos, they loved it. It was great.
All right, if you want to put yourself on mute a minute. I just want to say thank you to Paul for sharing that. Belinda, did you want to unmute yourself so we can have a bit of feedback regarding Paul's amazing story of his family member? It's what I do every single time I come on this show is we always talk about some really complicated charities and some really complicated health conditions. If anyone has been affected by today's show while you are watching, please make sure you do what we always say. Reach out to charities like Belinda's. Okay, there are helplines out there for people who need a chat. If you're affected by cystic fibrosis, please find those helplines and find the ability to be able to talk to someone if you need that extra support and that extra help. You know, they are out there, and like we say on One Life is a family. Okay, yes, there is a lot of us, but there's always someone at an end of an email, end of a phone, and we will always be there for you, even as musicians. And I think that's one thing I've learned from the musicians world. Okay, we're not as unapproachable as you may think we are. We are probably when we're on stage and we're trying to sing, and everyone's trying to get us off the stage and getting us into our rooms to get sorted for the next tour. But we are available. We will talk to you, and we will answer an email and be there for you. Okay, so Belinda, what we're going to do now is we are going to show you some of that music. Are you ready to have a listen?
Yeah, it sounds great.
Okay, well, Paul's going to keep his mic off for a little while so this comes through nice and clear. But it is Paul who was actually Paul. I want you to come off the mic for 2 seconds, and I'll put myself on mute because I want to know: was this you who shot the videos? Can you hear us, Paul? We wanted to know: was it you who shot the videos?
I shot some videos, yeah, and also we had a professional guy in as well that did some for Never Radio. So there was 2 or 3 different people taking videos and photos. So I'm not sure which ones you've got, whether they're actually the ones from me or from somebody else.
Well, they're a bit of a mixed bunch, but I'm going to play them for you now. So I'm going to spend the next 10 minutes with showing Belinda some highlights, and then we will go back to the show and get from Belinda some more information about the Cystic Fibrosis Trust and the great work that they do. Okay, so enjoy, everyone, because we're going to the Clooney together in Newcastle. Not quite, okay? Get your cups of tea, get your cups of coffee. It's a bit early for anything else, okay? It's only 10:30, okay? And we will sit back and listen to some of this great music by these great artists, okay? So let's get on Facebook and let's see what they got up to. It's my own design. It's my own remorse. Help me to decide. Help me make the most of freedom. Nothing ever lasts forever. Everybody wants to know. There's a rule as a life on fire. Only one comes down. Do what's right. Don't marry all your favorites. So sadly as you play. Everybody wants to know where I could have sworn.
These are my salad days, slowly being eaten away. Just another plate for today. Oh, well, I'm proud of you, but I'm proud of you. Nothing makes me feel small. Love is like this standing so tall. Here I could have sworn. These are my sad. When you wake up, it's the picture again. I'll be connected to the right line. We'll be together. Ain't nobody ain't in my business. Can make us alone. And I said, I'm right on. Let's make it work together. Stand very well. Before you come too far. Before you make a fool out of us. Don't keep on your road. Get on the fire. It's time of the day. Come as you be. Sweetest hour. I just can't handle it. Mother, something I could ever.
I've just got to ask you, Paul, great camera work. Seriously, what is going on? You can unmute yourself.
I really don't know what happened with the camera work on that. I think I had too many pints. I was enjoying the same as everybody else. They was on at the end of the night as well, so I'd probably had about 5 or 6 or 7 pints by then. I think I did take some better ones earlier on. I think when it was in the same level.
Okay, mute yourself a minute. So we will get the videos to you, Belinda. It looks as though there was some dodgy camera work going on back there, but as you can see, it gave you a bit of a flavour about those nights. And do you know what I did actually really love? And I don't know how this come about. Belinda, did you send those T-shirts out for the band members?
I think we must have done, but yeah, it did look amazing, I have to say. To hear somebody singing those songs I remember so well, standing there in the Cystic Fibrosis Trust T-shirts was really great. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
It was lovely. It was lovely to see. I know that you did send those out before the show. Some T-shirts went over from the Cystic Fibrosis Trust, and I know that there were some balloons and some banners and things like that which went over for the show, and it went down really, really well. We will send those out. If anybody wants to see the show, please go over to Sensational Sounds Facebook page. You can see the other videos from the show. But yeah, a great night was had by all, and it was absolutely lovely to see the band members, you know, being good sports and putting those T-shirts on and raising awareness. And you all look as though you had a great night. Some more than others, why we say, you know. But yeah, we will send Paul out for camera work lessons for when we next time do a gig for the Cystic Fibrosis Trust. Anyway, we are going to get to Belinda. And we are going to find out all about the Cystic Fibrosis Trust. So can you give us some background of sort of the Cystic Fibrosis Trust and sort of when it was formed and, you know, what were the main purposes for the Cystic Fibrosis Trust when they first formed?
Yeah, so it was formed in 1964, and it was formed by a group of families who had children who were living with cystic fibrosis, and they just wanted to improve, you know, the care for people living with CF, and also to conduct research into understanding it and to be able to treat it better. And so it's grown a lot since then. So we marked the 60th anniversary of the charity last year. And people with cystic fibrosis, they're born with a condition. It's a genetic condition, and if both parents carry a faulty gene, the CF gene, then that means that the babies have got a chance of developing cystic fibrosis themselves. So these days, cystic fibrosis is detected in the heel prick test that they do on young babies just a few weeks after they're born. And so you can get really good care. But cystic fibrosis means that for people with CF, they have they get very sticky lungs. It means that they can't clear infections from their lungs, and it affects other parts of their body too. They get have to take enzymes with every meal to help them digest the food, and they have a really regular, like every day. You were talking earlier about what time of day different people get up out of bed. But for people with CF, they have to do a lot of medicines before they can start the rest of their day. I can remember once seeing a video of somebody who was taking their pills that they had to take every day. And it's just a really big pile of medicines that you just have to
We
take
saw that
one
on the
after another. And it's
Belinda,
not just medicine.
can I just interrupt you, Belinda? We did see that during one of your videos, and there was a great young man on YouTube explained the fact that he could take up to 40 tablets per day, and it was like eating a bowl of Skittles. One color for each medication, and basically this is his life and the way that he gets up. But do you know what? One thing I've been very, very impressed with in terms of the way your videos come across as a charity is the strength and character of each cystic fibrosis patient. They have a life-limiting condition, but the fight in their eyes and the fight in themselves to try and enjoy life, to try and get as much out of life as they possibly can. And I think your organization does bring that across so well, in terms of looking at it as, yes, it is a life-limiting condition. Yes, it's an awful illness, but actually there is still life for these people. There is still a willingness and a drive and determination to live a life as full as they can. And I think one of the things, and why I'm impressed to have Belinda on the show, is that one of the messages that they come across, which made me smile, was the life expectancy, and the research is now coming into that actually we're being able to live longer lives with cystic fibrosis. And having someone like you on as part of the research team, when it comes to research and professors and things like that, my partner works in health, and we talk about people who can come up with a magic wand. We said that last night we had our meeting, didn't we, Paul? People with a magic wand. I almost feel like researchers, you spend so much time on these conditions, and you are absolutely amazing people, saving people's lives, and that's a really important part of it. But yeah, we did see the videos and it looked very complicated. So Belinda, a big pat on the back from all of us.
Thank you. It's much appreciated. And totally agree. People with CF, they live the best life they possibly can and do it with such humor and grace. It's really moving and motivating.
Fantastic. So tell us about your role, Belinda, in relation to how you support the actual trust itself.
So I've got a science background, and I work with the researchers that we fund and work with our fundraisers. And my job is really to explain what's going on in research to people who don't have a science background. So that might be people with CF in their families, or it might be, as I say, people who are raising the money for us, or it might be other people who've, like Paul, lost a family member to cystic fibrosis.
Fantastic. That's really helpful, because I think when it comes to medicine and when it comes to health, I don't know, I've been in hospital sometimes and I see that record at the end of my bed and I think, what are all those numbers and digits? Am I going to die the next day? Or, is someone going to feed me the wrong antibiotic or God knows what else? It's really complicated. So having someone like you is really important, because those messages that you've got to give across, can be quite complicated sometimes, but they can also save lives, and they can also, give plans of support and health where, which will, definitely be invaluable to a patient and, and to someone with cystic fibrosis. So, I think that role is so important. How do you think people find sort of the scientific side of cystic fibrosis compared to the day-to-day living? Do you find that your role is able to put across to other people, or is it something that's still developing? Because scientific and science develops every single day, so it must be quite complicated keeping up with everything and then trying to portray that to someone who is very ill or is going through illness. So could you give me some understanding?
Helps if you press the right button. Yeah, of course. Yeah, they always say scientists are never very good at general things. So I think it really varies from person to person about what kind of information they want to know about research. Some people just want to know that there is research going on and there is hope that life will improve, and other people really want to get down into the details and say, okay, so in the last 5 years or so, there's been a whole new generation of medicines for people with CF, and they've made a fantastic difference to, probably 9 in 10 people who are living with CF in the UK can take these medicines. But there is still that 1 in 10 who are not able to take the medicine, either because it doesn't work for them or because of their genetic defect that they have. And so, yeah, so people want to know lots of different levels of detail. And so sometimes they just want to know if there's hope, or other people, they just want to know exactly how does this medicine work? But on a cellular level, how does this medicine work? And so it's very nice to nerd out sometimes and just go down into detail of how they work.
It must be a very rewarding job. I think we don't give enough praise to researchers and scientists behind the scenes. There's a lot of work goes on behind the scenes to come up with these amazing medicines. I can remember COVID, and all of a sudden, there was vaccinations to save us all and get us out back into the community. But it was those scientists who were working behind the scenes to find those vaccinations, and those hours put into their job, 24/7 to try and, save humanity. And I think it's one of those things we don't see enough of, and we don't understand enough of, because we don't see that well. I don't know about you, Paul, nod your head if you want to. I think when I went to my science class, it was just like, oh, this is too complicated for me. It must be only Brady people, who go into that. I'll just stick with my music and I'll stick with my PE and sport. But for yourself, Belinda, how did you get into like science and sort of medication and doing this sort of role?
There's a lot of information there. So how did I get into it? I used to work in the lab. How did you get into it? Yeah, I used to work in the lab, and you go to the family parties and they say, oh, so what are you doing? And you kind of explain your research in like a minute or so. And actually that was a bit I like better than actually doing the lab work. So I kind of switched role and went into basically communicating the science. So I still get to read about the science that's going on, but I get that opportunity to chat to people and tell people. And, as you were saying, that information can really make a difference to the lives of people with CF, or to the lives of anybody who's living with a life-limiting condition. I just wanted to go back to that comment you made about the scientists and how great, and the motivation. I mean, I've heard people say that, one of the things that they really like about getting funding from Cystic Fibrosis Trust is because, all of the research that we fund is that people with CF have a say in what research that we fund. And so when they get funding from us, they know that this research is really going to make a difference for people with CF. And they are, as you say, amazingly dedicated people. And, they're really intelligent, but they really care about, what happens to the people. And a lot of them are doctors as well as scientists. So, yeah, it really makes a difference.
Fantastic. I love that. And, I think the patient's voice, or the person's voice, really does show within your charity. It's really, you can see on YouTube, if everyone wants to go to YouTube. I've just got to say a quick hi. We've just had a bit of a comment come on. So Dimitri, hi. We've got Dimitri on our show saying hi. What a surprise. Hello, beautiful people. So Dimitri is our ambassador here at One Life of Sensational Sounds, but he also is #1 in the charts in Greece over there at the moment, 2 times in a row, back-to-back #1s. And if you want to follow his music, please find him, because he is absolutely amazing. So thank you, Dimitri, and welcome to the show. We hope you are fine over there in Greece. See, they come from everywhere, Belinda. We have them from Greece, from Uganda, from America, from Australia. They come from all over the world to come and visit our show and also keep in contact with us. So, Belinda, can I just ask, in relation to sort of scientists and that day-to-day role, I'm very lucky as a DJ and as one of the owners of Sensational Sounds. I'm lucky that music is part of my life every single day. I listen to it when I wake up and I listen to it when I go to bed. But for you in the office, is it a case of, it's very heads down and got to keep everything's really important, or do you get to dance around to a pop tune or two during the day?
So half of my time I work from home, and then the other half of the time I commute into London. As soon as I get on the train, these headphones are on. Nice calm music. I have this little routine, nice calm music until I get into central London, and then I get the pop tunes on. And as I was saying to Paul, it's usually the 80s. Love an 80s tune, so it really starts my day really well. I'm kind of dancing away a little bit on the tube as I'm traveling along.
Brilliant, excellent. There's a lot of research into music, and I've had a lot of sort of university lecturers, doctors, etc., talk to me about research in music and how music affects patients, and even through dementia, to the point that I had one person come on, was talking to me about sound therapy through music. And some of the patients were able to go back to remembering things at the present time. And some patients where they weren't able to communicate were communicating through sort of sound therapy and music therapy. Is there a link between cystic fibrosis and music? Do you see a change when there's music being played or there's music around?
I'm really not aware of any research into that, unfortunately. I mean, music makes everybody feel good anyway, doesn't it? But I don't know anything specifically about a link between cystic fibrosis and music.
We'll have to have a look between the scientists we've got, because it is fascinating me. It's sort of like the connection, how strong the connection is to music and also to research. So we'll do some of those. We'll find out some of that after the show today. In relation to some questions, we normally do a little bit of a question and answer session. If Dimitri, you're still around, if there's any questions you want to know about cystic fibrosis, or is there any questions that you want to know from those who have cystic fibrosis, please get your questions in. If you're unable to do it during the show, please make sure you put it in the comments. I'm sure Belinda will be absolutely okay to answer any questions that you have. But what I'm going to do for this session while we're doing it is I'm going to ask Paul to ask if he's got any questions of Belinda. And then we are going to go back to those highlights. I'm going to try and find another video of yours, Paul, while you two are having a chat and asking questions. And then we get back to it. Okay, so Paul, over to you.
Put one of Steve McGuire and Jessica. Really, really good. Hi, are you all right? Yeah. I forgot what I was supposed to say now. I'm no good with. I'm all right when I'm on a stage, but different when you're doing this in front of a TV screen or something.
Any questions that you have for Belinda?
I mean, it's been a few years, obviously. I mean, I think it's about a good 12 years since she died. Might be a bit longer, maybe. Do you feel that things have progressed a lot more now, with medication and helping them to have a better life? I know Chantel, when she was young, she always used to laugh and joke about it all the time. She used to say, when I used to take her to New Look into the shopping centres, because the development and the growth is like, even though she was 16, 17, she had the body of an 8-year-old or a 10-year-old or 11-year-old. So when we used to go shopping, she would always say, "Oh, Uncle Paul, children's section, 9 to 11s, half price, £5 an item," you know what I mean? But she used to laugh and joke about it, because she could always get like younger clothes at cheaper rates because of her size. And I think, is that the norm still now with cystic fibrosis, the development wise, or has that got better?
Yeah, that has got better. And I think, as I was saying before, I think they've moved it. The thing with people with CF, when they're born, they have a lot of people with CF have difficulty digesting food. And so
Paul, can I just ask that you mute yourself for a minute?
So a lot of people with CF have difficulty digesting food, and they take enzymes to go to digest their food more easily. But sometimes if CF isn't picked up straight away, they have what's known as failure to thrive, and that means that their body doesn't grow very well right from when they're a baby. So I think now, because CF is picked up much earlier, then they can get those enzymes to those babies, really early on, and make sure that they're getting a really high calorie diet. That means that they can live much, that they've got all the nutrients they are, and they can grow as you would expect other children the same age as them to grow. I guess the other thing is the medicines that I mentioned that have recently been approved in the last 5 years or so. When they were first approved, they were approved for people who were adults. But as they got more used to it, they got more data on how safe those medicines were. They were able to start reducing the age that they can take them. And now there are some really good medicines that people can take from the age of 2. So it means that their projected life is going to be so much better than, for example, when your niece was sort of a toddler. I mean, it's amazing the difference that these medicines are going to make for everybody. I mean, I know they're not available for everybody, but they, unfortunately, if Chantal had been born today, she would have had a much longer life.
It was like, I suppose, obviously I was her only main uncle, so I was like probably number one. She'd always come to me when she couldn't go to her dad, which was quite a few times. But at the end of the day, I mean, my brother was in pieces when she died. I mean, he's got another daughter who's older, Vicky. Now, she was born without the genes. So it was really hard for her to watch her sister suffer as much as she did. But like you said, I've watched her over the years with all the medication, intravenous, being peg fed, everything growing up. But she wanted to enjoy her life. She wanted her life, you know what I mean? I can still remember, because my brother took her to Spain for a lot of years because the health and the weather was better for her to a degree. But then towards the end, I think when she was 16, 17, she wanted to go out and party. She wanted to go out to the clubs with her sister and enjoy herself. And although my brother would probably say she didn't help herself with her health-wise by doing what she did, I used to say, well, she wants to enjoy her life as much as possible. Let her get on with it. Let her enjoy what time she's got. And she used to go out. I can remember my brother saying that her and her sister had nicked the scooters at like 3 o'clock in the morning, going out to Benidorm, clubbing it together. And he was going mad about it. But at the end of the day, she wanted to enjoy her life as much as possible. And my brother loved her to bits, and he always has, and he always will. I think sometimes he was a bit overprotective, maybe. But then I would probably be the same if I was her dad as well. So when he was being overprotective and too overcaring, I was the one that said, "Oh, let her have a life, let her enjoy herself, man. She's trying to enjoy herself." And it was hard for both of us and for the whole family, to be honest. And I think it was probably harder on Vicky the most, obviously being a sister. But she was quite lucky in some respects, in one way, that my brother, he was quite a wealthy guy at the time, so he probably spent every penny he had on her, taking her to America, Disneyland. She's seen the 7 wonders of the world before she was 16, which a lot of children don't get the chance to do. But he tried to make sure that she would see everywhere and do everything as much as possible. And I've seen at times where she's been really ill and she's filled a bucket with sick and that and the stuff. I couldn't cope with what she went through and how she did it. We all say in the family that we've never met anybody as strong as her to go through everything she did. I think the hard time came is when her left, I think it was her left or right lung went first, and then the other one was deteriorating. Then they decided it was best for her to come back to the UK. To be honest, I don't think she really wanted to. She wanted to stay out there with all her mates and friends, but my brother had to think about traveling back and forth to hospitals, care. They just ended up coming back to the UK, and unfortunately, she spent the last 12 months in a hospital ward unit before she died. I think that was the hardest time for all of us. I still like to try and remember the time she had where she enjoyed herself and she was making the most of it. And she always used to say to me, "Life's too short, Uncle Paul. You know what I mean? Live life while you can, make the most of it." She used to love my singing and my music when I was a singer. And when I was singing at the funeral, things like that were hard. I had to do it at my dad's as well when my dad passed away. They're the hardest things to ever do. I don't think I'd want to do it again in a hurry. But I'm pleased that, science and medication is helping a lot more kids nowadays grow and develop and grow older and have kids of their own. I've heard of cystic fibrosis people having children of their own now. I just sometimes wish it had happened for her in her time, but it wasn't her time. But I'm pleased that things are getting better.
Brilliant. Can I just say Paul, this is a very sensitive subject for you, and I want to commend you for coming on a show in front of the world and being able to talk about, what you're talking about. It is very difficult, very hard, and we are there for you, Paul. Okay, all of us as a team. It is a very brave and honourable thing to come and do this in front of everybody. We have had lots of people throughout our shows who have shared personal, experiences. And I think actually that does help us understand, really the reasons why we are supporting these amazing charities and we are doing the work that we do. And when we really do thank all of our guests who come onto the show and actually share one of the examples of how this has affected them. I think, Belinda, for me, I think it's for your actual trust itself, the Cystic Fibrosis Trust. One of the things that makes me smile is the amount of work that goes from the other members of staff. There's a lot of divisions from the Cystic Fibrosis Trust, and there's a lot of ways in which people are being supported. We've talked a lot about sort of science and research, but in terms of the Cystic Fibrosis Trust, there's so many ways in which people can get involved. Can you tell us some examples of the good work that the Cystic Fibrosis Trust do and how people can really get involved in the trust itself?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, there are things that you can do, whatever hobby or sport is for you is something that you can get involved in, whether that's a sponsored event or whether it's whether you can, we can provide you with t-shirts and flags and things, or whether you've got more higher ambitions, you fancy, I don't know, swimming across a lake in North Wales, or cycling around some I know we're doing an event in Harewood House in Yorkshire in October. So there's just so many different ways, and even just sharing our videos on social, liking our things on social, and just spreading awareness, I think, as well as raising money, which is obviously really important to us, just so that people who've got CF, that when they meet a stranger and they find out that they actually know something about the condition, about the fact that they have to take enzymes with the food, that they can't meet other people with CF, that's really important too. So yeah, there's lots of different ways you can get involved, and check out our website, cysticfibrosis.org.uk, to find out more about us.
Fantastic. That's absolutely brilliant. A big shout out to all the other members of staff who support the Cystic Fibrosis Trust. Some of those staff are volunteers also. I know with a lot of charities, there's a lot of volunteers who will come in and help with local groups, local cafes, local support groups, family visits, and they're all volunteers, will give up their time. So we always say a special thank you to all those volunteers who help local and national charities, because you do an amazing job. And without you, those charities, would struggle for staff and would struggle for support. And those patients also love to see when you turn up with a big smile, so thank you to all those volunteers who help. But for me to understand a little bit more, Belinda, just one last question. When we say those special thank yous and we get towards the end of the show today, and we're going to play out with one of the videos that come from the weekend over at the Clooney, can you just give us a bit of an understanding from the trust itself, the amount of people who actually work for cystic fibrosis and the types of roles that they've got? Because I think we need to thank them also.
Yes, certainly. Well, starting with direct support. So we've got people who work on our helpline. So that might be literally on the end of a phone, or it might be on WhatsApp. We've got people who work with individuals with CF or their families, who help get the best out of the welfare system. It can be expensive living with CF, so there's lots of people who are doing that. Lobbying government to change the bills, make sure, talking about the welfare bills, but also getting free prescriptions for people living with CF. We have lots of people who support families and friends of people with CF with various different types of fundraising. We can write to charitable trusts and get money from them. There's obviously people in the team that I work in who help manage the grants that we give, make sure that we're making the best use of the money that people have very generously donated. We also support a lot of programs, a lot of peer support. We have a call every week sort of saying, what's happening in the charity, and there's events for young people living with CF. They will get together on Zoom and have a great time. They do clay making, and to be honest, I'd like to join half the workshops. And also parent support for parents too. There's an awful lot going on.
Brilliant. Do you know what? Thank you to each and every one of you, members, staff who works for Cystic Fibrosis Trust, and all those amazing things that you do. You know, Paul's clapping his hands, and I'm actually joining you. So what we're going to do, everybody, before we end the show, I did say right at the beginning, I have a special surprise for Belinda and also for Paul. We have got a special surprise. We are going to, behind the scenes, Belinda, we are going to dedicate a song to the Cystic Fibrosis Trust as a team, okay? We have a One Life challenge set out to all of our musicians. So my musicians, you know who you are. I am reaching out to you far and wide around the world. Please come up with an amazing song for the Cystic Fibrosis Trust and go through Paul, who's going to coordinate this amazing song, because I think a good group song, I haven't seen a good group song for ages, where we all take part, a bit like Live Aid. You know, we all take part, we all have our individual sections. And I'll tell you what, Dimitri, this one's right up your avenue, because I know that's something that you'd love to do in terms of getting people all together and making sure we've got everyone available. Now, we've got singers from all over the world. We've got some quite famous singers who are going on world tours, etc. So there's going to be a good combination of great artists who are going to join in this amazing song. We are going to get it together for you this year, and then we will send it to you, to the Cystic Fibrosis Trust. And I'll tell you what, it's going to be an absolute cracker, raising money for you. So there you go, Belinda, our present from One Life to you at the Cystic Fibrosis Trust at the end of your campaign is that we'll be working very hard to get your lovely, lovely single out. And you never know, it could be your theme tune.
Thank you so much. That sounds amazing. I really appreciate it. And thank you to everybody who's taken part.
You're welcome. Okay, so any last words from Paul before I put on one of your amazing videos?
Yeah, pick one that I didn't take.
Yeah, here we go. This one's a bit more professional. Okay, Paul, do you want to meet yourself? And we'll play the video for everybody. Okay, enjoy, and we will see you soon.
Wanna sing them sounds and walk their own. No, you don't need to do it on your own. So come on, babe, bring it home to me. Well, I sail across the 7 seas, watching moon blow up and the ocean's freezing. I need time to start again. Well, I know what you're saying. The side where the grass ain't green, and I think you should take my hand. And baby, that I know the side where the grass won't grow, so I think you should take my hand. Take my hand. Take my hand. The poisonous sermon that broke the world. So many die and many hurt, and they think that it's just a game. The principles they cast aside, the breaking laws and the evil lies, and they don't know we hurt the most. Well, I know what you're saying. The side where the grass ain't green, and I think you should take my hand. And baby, that I know the side where the grass won't grow, so I think you should take my hand. Take my hand. Take my hand. Take my hand. Take my hand.
Actually, a song that was written by Stephen Maguire himself, and I think that's an amazing song, and it actually shows about caring by taking your hand. You know what I mean? He's got an amazing future ahead of him as well.
Fantastic. We did actually get it right that time. We did find one of your amazing videos that was shot. Yes, I totally agree with you, Paul. The young Stephen Maguire, I tell you what, we need to get him through the ranks, okay, because he's got a great future by the sounds of it. Absolutely lovely sound. Okay, everybody, we have got towards the end of the show. I hope you've had a great time. I hope you've had some great education from Belinda. I know I have. It's been an absolutely lovely show, and we're there to support all of you who suffer from the condition of cystic fibrosis. As a team, we're going to be here for you. We're going to be here for Paul as well, and we're definitely going to be talking to Belinda with this amazing single that's going to come out with these amazing artists. Okay, I just want to thank each and every one of you for joining me on the show. Please, please, please set your clocks for 7 p.m. this evening, okay, because we have the word 66 coming on the show this evening. So we are going to be raising some more money for the cystic fibrosis team this evening at 7 o'clock. So please take your time. I'm going to go and take a rest because we'll be back on the show at 7 o'clock. Take good care of yourself. Bye-bye, everyone.
Cheers, then. Thank you, everybody. Cheers, then. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.